Thanks again for joining us. I appreciate it. So today I'm going to talk about envisioning and why it's so important to add it to your daily routine. So let me explain. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here, but just for anybody that hasn't heard of envisioning. Envisioning is basically closing your eyes and using your imagination to kind of picture what it is that you want. And it could be anything. So it can be like a goal that you have, maybe envisioning for your business, maybe envisioning for anything. So this is even like a really silly way to put it, but let me back up. So really what my belief is, and again, these are all just my beliefs, you take it with a grain of salt, but my belief is that our brains, our minds are the tool, kind of like a CB, like a trucker would use to kind of communicate back and forth. We use our minds almost as that CB to communicate with the universe. And a lot of times the universe will kind of just give you whatever it is that you're looking for as long as you really kind of focus on it. So the trick is, and again, this is not mine, this is just kind of like universal laws. I've said that before, but the real trick, in my opinion and my belief, is that if you can believe it, like don't stop believing, if you can truly believe what it is that you want during when you hit those road bumps or those trials or tribulations, the belief creates the feelings. The feelings is what manifests the reality. So really the trick is to start it is to envision it. And you can even do it with some really, really simple things. So for example, this is kind of a silly point, but I'm very into lawn care. And I got closer to my 40s, and all of a sudden, all I really wanted to do is make sure that I had a golf course-like lawn out front. Now, it's kind of weird. I mean, that's just my thing. I'm not saying go out and do lawn care. But when I first started it, we bought our own house about a little under 2 years ago. And when I first started it, I started out with this really kind of crappy lawn, really just messed up lawn. It had a whole bunch of dandelions, it had a whole bunch of holes, it had more dirt than grass. And what I would do, again, this is just silly, bear with me here, but I would sit in the lawn and I would close my eyes and I would think of the most beautiful, lush lawn that I was looking for, and I would be thankful for it. I've talked about this before, about the 5 rules, but I would be very thankful thank you for the abundance for which I've received this beautiful lawn, and I would see this lawn in my head. Now again, like I probably look like a crazy person in my front lawn, but I was envisioning, and I was standing in the lawn and I was thinking about it, what would it feel like? I was thinking about how thick it would be, exactly what I wanted it to be like. Essentially, the more clear your vision is, the more clear you can envision things, the more likely it is to be able to manifest those things. So I would close my eyes and I would think of that beautiful lawn and I'd be very thankful for it. Again, I probably sound like a total kook right now. But the point is that if I look at my lawn right now, it's thick, it's luscious, it's got it's the lawn that I envisioned in my head. Yes, I put work into it. That's part of one of the 5 steps. I've talked about that in my other videos as well. But yes, you've got to take action and actually put that into there. But the first step is to envision it. Very similar to kind of how like Michael Phelps. I always talk about Michael Phelps, and he has so many gold medals. But his coaches, his trainers, himself, he had to know what the finish line looked like. He had to know what the record was that he needed to break. He basically, the Stephen Covey think with the end in mind. You think or envision what it is exactly that you want more of, and then just kind of work yourself backwards, and kind of chunk it down. But again, it all starts with that envisioning. Here's another example. So think about a time that you maybe brought some kind of a messy, anything like pulled pork, or something barbecue, or maybe your coffee, you were sitting it down and you're like, oh man, I'm going to totally spill this. And you see that picture in your mind of you dropping and staining it all over your shirt, or, spilling that coffee all over the desk, or whatever the case might be. And it actually happens. That's essentially the proof that your mind is so powerful that whatever you can see in your mind, you can essentially manifest if you truly believe that so and then push that out into the universe. Because again, the universe is going to kind of give you whatever it is that you're asking for. So that's why you've got to be, again, like I've talked about in the other videos, you've got to be very careful about what you're thinking about, because essentially those things will manifest, like the stain on your shirt, or the spill of the coffee. And I used to say all the time too, I'm like, oh man, I'm such a man, I can't eat without ever spilling something on my shirt and getting a stain. Well, I was walking around constantly with stains all over my shirt, but that's kind of like what I wanted to, because I wasn't in control of my own mind, or I wasn't in control of the things that were going on. So again, this is a long-winded point, but the more that you can, set a goal, be really clear about what the goal is that you want, close your mind. A lot of times, even before you're going to bed, kind of close your mind and think of that over and over and over, and do your best to manifest the actual feelings, because then the feelings will breed into your actions. The actions will then lead into the reality of your manifestation of that you're looking for. So be really careful. I've talked about this before and over and over and over, but be really, really careful about what you're thinking about, or at least be in control of that, simply because if you're not, your mind's going to kind of wander, and then those things are going to happen to you. And again, like I've talked about in past videos, is just be careful about what you're manifesting.